Deep breath out. One more time, deep breath in. Deep breath out. Alright, get those nerves out if anything. I know it's a little different. Diversity, that taboo word we all hear is like, ooh, diversity. I'm not so sure about this. Yes, it can be very difficult. But I want you all to look around you. Just look around right now. Just look at those people. Look at the clothing you're all wearing. Just look at your own clothing and anything. Look at the different styles going on. Who's a culinary major in here? Raise your hand. Alright. Who is a hospitality major? Raise your hand. Yeah. Love it. Who is a business major? Nice. Love it. Any criminal justice? Yeah. Love it. So I want you just all think about that right now. There's so many different things happening, so many different perspectives going on. And you may call that diversity. You know, I knew an old friend, or more of a movie, and I heard once, they told me what diversity is. This was his response. I believe diversity is an old wooden ship used in the Civil War era. I'm not so sure about that one. Do you all think that's diversity? Not so sure. Alright, cool. So, we're going to get started venting. So I got my little notes here for you all. So the avenue of diversity, it comes at all different perspectives here and there. You just see it happening walking by, if anything. Just see a person wear something different, or different ethnicity. They're different. What? It's kind of go out of the norm, if anything. I kind of think diversity, that's not usually what happens, if anything. That's something different we're not used to. So that's what something you got to think about in diversity. So I kind of want to go to the avenue of blankets and assumptions. Not blankets to keep you warm. Sorry, I'm not going to give you all blankets right now. But more of the idea of blankets of anything that comes with different aspects. So we get these different ideas of anything. We get this idea of, yes, he is Hispanic, or yes, he may be white, yes, he may be Asian. You get these different avenues. And then sometimes, sorry, Claire. Before I get on offending, if I do offend you in some sort of way, or if anything my understandings may be harmful, I'm sorry. If you want to talk about it after this talk, I'll be more than happy to talk to you. So disclosure, I don't want to offend anyone. But like I was saying, these different avenues. It's kind of hard sometimes because I know there was a talk event in TED Talks, they talk about these single stories of anything. Now being single when you don't have a boyfriend or girlfriend, not that single. This idea of a perspective where it's only one narrow view of anything. So my example of anything, when we share something about myself, is I'm a Jehovah's Witness of anything. Not baptized just, but that's one of my goals. These ideas of being a Jehovah's Witness, a lot in our minds is, oh, you're the guy that knocks on my door. Hi, how's it going? Yes, we do knock on people's doors. That is true, but that is the idea of creating a blanket of anything. Even that of myself being a nutrition major of anything, even could be with your majors of anything. You're a nutrition major, so you do not like desserts. I do like desserts, but that's a good assumption of anything. It's kind of hard sometimes when you get this idea where so many times people go from one story to the next story. Have you all know this idea of, talking about rumors? Who's been involved in rumors? Or been talked about? Pretty sure everyone. If you didn't, so let's resolve anything. Good job. That's a great thing going on with anything. But it's hard. You have to think about sometimes those perspectives of people and anything. Sometimes you get the thought of a certain niche of anything. So those from the jock class maybe. You get this idea, oh, they're jocks, they're big, they behave this way. They say to someone else, they behave this way. And then you get it implanted in your mind. So it's that weird person saying it every single time. And next thing you know, that's what it is, that narrow mind, that one single view of what you have about the jocks. Or let's say about a certain ethnicity. Let's say that of white ethnicity. They say one thing, yeah, they may be privileged, this and that. Next up, next up, next up. That's only one narrow mind. Now, how do you break through that, if anything? That is the difficult part, is breaking through that, if anything. You have this one niche, next to know it's going to keep on going because you just have that one perspective. How many of you know the idea of listening? I know whoever did my diversity program know a lot about listening to anything. It's so amazing what you can do with the power of listening to anything. A lot of times when we're out of this, we're not fully present, we miss one thing. A lot of times we're on our phones, when we're, sorry if I'm falling down, me too. It's like, oh, I'm falling down. No, don't even do that with anything. The idea of being fully present, not on your computer, just dazing out in delays, if anything, or just not paying attention. Talking and just like, yeah, I got it. Cool, thanks. Sucks. It's not listening. How many times that didn't really understand you, didn't really appreciate what you're doing? Do you feel like your voice is not being heard? But think about the other side. When you did that before, talking to someone, just having that conversation, and you're not listening to them. See, the idea of listening, man, I think is empathizing with them. The idea of just knowing where they come from, knowing their story, and helping understand it more. Because that's where you're going to break that barrier between that common relationship and that common idea of, yes, they're that person, this and that, but there's something more behind that. It's not just that blanket. What's underneath that blanket? Kind of idea of the iceberg theory. You see this iceberg coming. Not too big, like that Titanic. You see it coming. But there's more underneath. Yet we're not really too thinking about the underneath, like, I could just go by it. And you know a story about Titanic. So I want to encourage you all throughout this thing, if anything, to use more of your listening than hearing. There's a big difference between listening and hearing, if anything. Thank you for pointing that. Yes, David. Use that. And thank you for saying that. But the idea of actually being present and hearing what they're saying, and listening, understanding, and processing it, and thinking about it instead of just hearing, like the music where you hear a beat, you're like, yeah, that's a good song. Listen to that. Yeah, buddy. Anyhow, it's a dance. But you get the idea of just listening, but you actually listen to those lyrics, like, whoa, I did not expect that to come from that song. Isn't that happening to you all before? When you hear a song, it's like, ooh, I'm not so sure about the song anymore, but you really like the beat. So I'm going to encourage you all to actually listen during this, if anything. So I'm going to talk about next about the culture shock. Who's been a part of culture shock? Raise your hand. Woo! Aren't they fun? Oh my gosh, it's just hitting me out of nowhere. So, funny thing about myself, and I think it goes to my past, that thing, as being Hispanic and a Jehovah's Witness, being the process of that being a Jehovah's Witness. When I was in elementary school, even kindergarten, I had this thing where I didn't celebrate the holidays because that's what I believed, or that's what my parents told me, if anything. It's kind of weird because I was a culture shock to them, and they're a culture shock to me, if anything. See, I would go in class and just do myself anything. And I would just hear him talk about, oh, are you excited for Christmas going on? And this and that. Santa's coming. We get all these presents. And I'm like, who's Santa? And they're like, oh, the person that comes to your house and everything. So I kind of ruined it for them. Get to break it out. Like, I saw you, like, it's your parents, isn't it? It's like, no, that's not true. But yeah, if I ruined your childhood, I'm sorry. But the idea of anything is just like that culture shock where you're just, wow, I did not think too much about it. Maybe there's something more to learn about it. Just knowing that, sometimes where I would have to go during my classes event when they had those Christmas parties, those Halloween parties, they would actually have to send me to the office and do homework. Yeah, that sucks. Go homework. Yeah, learn a little more of anything. But the thing is just the fact that they're respecting my religion, but then there's a cost of prey, if anything. There's that different level of anything. Just knowing that culture shock that, yes, some people might be hurt, but at least you give you that perspective of what's going on, if anything. It's kind of called work. And that kind of makes the joke like, yeah, you know, I've had all those treats, but now I'm a nutrition major. Like, you're going to pay for that later. That's beside if anything. And also, the crazy culture shock that happened to me, if anything, kind of go more deep inside my past, if anything, was the fact that I went from somewhat of a high economic status to a low economic status. Just the idea of just comfort. You have so many things going for you, and the next thing you know, things are just dropping. It's kind of interesting how it works, where you have something going on, just, oops, I can't get that anymore. Sucks, if anything. This idea where people would say, just because you're wearing the same clothing twice, like, oh, you know, you should take a shower or anything? Not really, I do take a shower. That fact that I just don't have enough stuff to get to just wear something else and everything. It was funny because I thought I had it great too, because the fact that there was a pool when I used to go around in motels and anything when I was homeless, if anything. I thought I had it great. I'm like, there's a pool out there. I can talk to people outside. I thought I was doing pretty fantastic and everything. But the people around were like, that sucks. I'm like, no, I have a pool right there. Just go swim whenever I want. Forget you. So it's kind of interesting too, because I had a friend that also like actually invited him over if anything. I didn't know. I wasn't paying attention. I'm like, hotel, great. There's a pool right there. He's like, he actually agreed with me too. I'm like, you have it great. You have a pool right there. Let's join in. It was great in California, just to let you know. But it's so amazing how just the fact that, yeah, you may be lower economic status, but that culture shock, just letting other people know that it's not always that bad of anything. Just know that there's actually great things behind things. And the fun thing with that, with my friend, when I went to high school, kind of no story of mine, the experience that I had was when I went with my friend, he was a single child of that thing. He he had a lot of things going for him. He had like his house and everything. It was so amazing. And I went talking like, oh, you have so much great here, like everything's going on great for you. He's like, no, it's not. I'm a single child. They're always watching me if anything. They always make sure I don't do anything, so I can't have that many friends over. So it's kind of interesting how where I have these perspectives who are great for me, but then again, I don't have that economic status where he has great economic status. There's some downfall. If anything, you have a perception. I was a little ashamed of myself for thinking just my friend, having that idea of having that house and having so much going for him, that he's doing great, that he's so privileged, that it's so nice for him to have that. But really, psychologically, he thought it wasn't going so well. It's kind of interesting how it works. Even for myself, or other people might think it's going down for me, it's going great. Like I said, that pool, I want to go in the pool in California. So the end thing, I want y'all to try to think more inside that idea of culture shock. Try to, if anything, y'all experiment this, but think more about that thing. When that happens, when you go in the culture shock, try to dive in. Learn more about it, because it helps shape your framework. A lot of times we go through these different perspectives of what's going on, and we don't really catch it, but when we're actually diving deep more into it, we learn more. Kind of like with all your majors. Like you're saying, culinary major, you do this, and you learn something totally different, like, I want to learn more about that. I want to learn how to make that great pasta, and like, bam, I'm going deep into it. If you're learning of any businesses, different business ethics, like, yes. So it's kind of interesting how those different perspectives go here and there. So try to think about anything. So I'm going to kind of be watchful of people's time with anything. So I'm going to try to do my last subheading. It's the idea of being adaptable. There's an interesting quote I heard once from a great famous person. I don't know if y'all heard of him back in the 1960s. Who knows Bruce Lee? Pretty great, right? Many guys, like, you're like, you don't want to do martial arts because he can do too. Like, take on 10 guys. Crazy. It's really cool. But besides his martial arts, he has a really great, interesting philosophy for y'all to learn about, if anything. And something that was really great that I appreciate from him was the idea of being adaptable. I want y'all to listen to this quote really carefully and think what it interprets to you, if anything. So take a deep breath in, deep breath out. Help me listen more, if anything. Clear your mind. Be formless, shapeless, like water. Now, if you put water into a cup, it becomes a cup. If you put water into a teapot, it becomes a teapot. You put water into a bottle, it becomes a bottle. Water can flow and it can crash. Be water, my friend. Now you're thinking, water in a teapot? Yeah, cool. Water in a teapot. Bottle? Of course, because that's what water does. But if you really dive into it, it's the idea of being adaptable, where you get these different culture shocks going on, these different perceptions, these different narrow minds. If anything, you're trying to adapt to which one is which, if anything. So you gotta be adaptable. Just have that open mind understanding. Just knowing, just releasing the mind, if anything, and just being there, if anything, and actually listening. In the harbor, if anything, we have those times where people say something and we get offended quickly, like, what? Libertarians? Terrible. I think there are. I totally get offended. Or, look, those people, those thugs, I hate them. Then like that. If anything, try to have the open mind. Instead of just disagreeing or agreeing, try to just understand more. Kind of use a skill that I kind of taught the diversity dialogues, if anything I taught. The idea of encourager. Just kind of say, oh, thugs, what do you hate so much about them? Oh, libertarians, help me understand why you're feeling this way. Just give the opportunity to learn more, if anything, instead of letting yourself out there. Just have that open mind, just hear more what they have to say. So if you do hear what the more they have to say, you get this idea from that single story or that blanket until you get a little sneak peek of what's inside of it. It's so amazing what you can do with that listening, adapting, culture shocks. Now think of all those and think how you might apply it later in your life. If anything, I'm going to end with this thought. While I think about this, something I take personally, that was Bruce Lee quote. The guy. I do not pray for an easy life. I pray for the strength to endure a difficult life. Think about that, because a lot of times we want the easy avenue. We want these easy perspectives. Diversity, we just want easy, self-explanation, that's it. But it's something more than that. Instead of trying to take the shortcut, understand it, and have the ability to have that strength to endure what's going on. Just learn anything. So thank you all for your time and listening to me. If I offended you, I'm sorry. If I got too pizzazzy, I'm sorry. Well, thank you for your time. And know this, all of you right now are making a difference right now. Know that. You all are making differences right now. Giving your time away for this pearl offending and learning what to do to benefit not only yourself, but people around you. And not only people around you, but your major. not only your major, even your family. So know that, kudos to you all, and thank you so much for letting me talk.
Thank you, Joey. So what you're saying is that by listening to what people say, you can better understand their stories and better connect with their perspective on issues and things that are going on around the world. And by doing this, you can ultimately get a better understanding